Hi YouTube. I know it's been a while, but I kind of want to skip the preamble here because I don't want this to take too long. It is past midnight on technically Thursday morning. So, um, I actually had filmed this before, but when I did, I was drunk and high. So, it was kind of unwatchable. So I'm refilming it. I'm sober right now. This is water. This is water in here. I'm sober. Okay. Promise. Now, Saltburn, watching it, horrible experience. One of the worst movie watching, actually, probably the worst movie watching experience I've had in my life. Because even when I watch horror movies, it's not that bad. What's really bad is the aftermath of watching a horror movie for me. That's what sucks. The actual watching it is not that bad. Whereas Saltburn, it was like I was on the floor. Like I was on the floor rolling around and crying out, "No, no, stop. Stop doing that. Don't do that." Just over and over again. You know? It was it was genuinely horrific. Um and there were a bunch of reasons for that I'm kind of going to go through. I've got some notes, some beautiful notes. ASMR, you know. So the first thing I feel like I should cover is that this movie is full of lies. This movie is a guy lying. That's like the main thrust of the plot, is this guy lying. And I hate lying. I'm really bad at it. And I'm really bad at dealing with when other people do it. So you can kind of imagine me watching this movie on the edge of my seat, like, no, fuck, stop lying. Like, I was just yelling. I was like, no, just stop lying. Why are you lying? You know, the main guy, he lies about his dad dying, and then his friend who he lied about his dad dying to goes to his house and meets his dad. And when that happened, I walked out of the room. I walked out of the room. I felt like I was gonna puke. I don't know if that's like the usual reaction. I don't think it is. But yeah, that's just a little teaser of the emotional state that I was in throughout that entire movie, basically from like the 30-minute mark onward. Now, I think another part of it was that, as some other people have argued, it's a very ha, I'm provoking you, I'm provoking you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you movie, right? Like it's purposefully trying to make you mad, and upset and ill. And so that was the other part of it that made me feel like shit when I was watching it. Like I the final scene of the movie, not the dancing one, but the one before that, where the whole movie switches between what's actually happening and this bit where he's in a fancy outfit and he's speaking to someone and you don't know who it is. And then at the very end of the movie, it pans out and he's talking to the mother of this family. And he just goes, you know, these last however long has been wonderful with you. It's a shame you got ill so quickly. And it's her in a respirator. And then he yanks the tube out of her throat and straddles her on her bed while he's doing this. And it's so uncomfortable. Like, just completely disgusting. And this kind of a running theme for this entire movie is that, you know, I support a deranged, horny mess, right? Like, that's what I am. Okay, how can I not love these things, right? But there's no actual follow through, right? Like, I would have been really down for a scene where, after this guy has gotten rid of the rest of this family he fucks the mom, you know? I would have been down for that. Sounds fun, sounds hot. But that's not what happens. Instead, he simply murders her in the most sensual, disgusting way possible, right? So it's like, you don't actually... The things that you could be shown by this scene, like, oh, he has a vaguely sexual thing going on with this mom, could have been shown in a way that was sexy instead of disgusting. But they picked disgusting because they wanted to disgust. The whole movie is like edgy, I want everyone watching this to feel as uncomfortable as possible. And I just fundamentally don't get down with that kind of thing. Like, this was what had me arguing with incels in high school. Like, I don't understand why people want to make other people feel bad. Like, I genuinely do not understand. Like, I don't get lying to people unless you're trying to make them feel better about something. Like, if you're trying to lie to someone to hurt them, it's like, I don't get it. If you're telling the truth to someone to hurt them, I don't get it. If you do literally anything and your purpose is for people to feel worse, I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, when someone is hurt by me, I feel really bad. Okay, like, if I was the director of this movie, I'd feel bad. I don't understand why you would choose to make so many of these things so grotesque when any idea that could be conveyed with how grotesque they are could be conveyed in a slightly different way that is not. You know? Like, I'm really all for sex scenes. Like, I'm a very pro sex scenes, pro crazy shit in movies person. But this movie isn't crazy so much as it's just fucking gross. Like, it's just gross. Like, I watched Infinity Pool, which coincidentally also came out in 2023, and it's got a bunch of crazy shit in it, but it's so much better of a watch. Like, the experience of watching it is, I think, as horny and thrilling as the director's intended, right? But the director clearly had the intention of making this movie puke-worthy so that people would, like, talk about it on social media in a certain way. Like, oh, this is the craziest movie I've ever seen. I couldn't, when he drank the cummy bathwater, I was like, oh my God, you know? You know, it's made for men to put towels on their head and pretend to be women and talk about, you know, on TikTok. Now, I want to start getting through this because I told myself I was going to go as quickly as I could, and I'm not doing that at all. Now, more points that I have to make about this movie is that it's not gay enough, okay? Like I was saying, not horny enough, not gay enough, right? So the beginning of this movie, I thought, I'm gonna like this because it's about a normal guy falling in love with a rich guy, and then everything falls apart and he's mentally unstable. And generally, I love those stories. Like, some of my favorite stories of all time kind of follow that pattern. Like, These Violent Delights by Micah Numeriver is one of my favorite novels I've ever read. Obviously, I fucking love The Secret History, whose footprints are all over this movie. And, you know, those stories kind of follow that trajectory of young guy is slightly mentally unwell and a bit weird, and then kind of falls in with these crazy people, or this crazy guy, and it's like gay. You know, I know The Secret History, the main character is only gay to a certain extent, but like, it's gay, you know, it's fucking gay. There's gay shit going on. in this one, in Saltburn, that plot kind of just falls apart. Like, the movie is called Saltburn after the estate. The estate that he kills this entire family to inherit. It's not named after the guy. Because at the end of the movie, it's revealed that his entire motivation was to get the estate. And I'm sorry, there's nothing less gay than property fetish. Like, it's just, like, you don't get the sense that he's doing all these deranged things because he has this homosexual interest in this other man. By the end of the movie, you've gotten the sense that he did it all to walk around in a mansion by himself. Like, and that's why so much, the main character's motivations, you never really understand. Like, there's hints that he's lonely, or he didn't have friends when he was growing up, and, like, that's why he's doing this. But then it turns out that he just wanted to kill everyone and being in the house by himself, which is, like, very lonely, you know? Or there's the fact that he's supposed to be in love with this guy, but then he kills him. And then it turns out it was just about the house anyway. Or you think, oh, well, he resents them for being really wealthy. But then it's like, oh no, he lives in, like, this posh neighborhood. And goes to Oxford. It's like, what does this guy even want? You have no idea what he wants. You just come away from being like, oh my god, this guy is so crazy. And given that I recently rewatched H-Bomber Guy's Sherlock video, I just have to say, that's lazy. Like, that's fucking lazy as shit. Like, oh, this person's crazy. So we don't actually have to write them a motivation. We don't actually have to help the audience understand why they've done any of the things that they've done in this movie. Because they're crazy. They're just crazy. It's kind of, makes me fucking angry. And then it's not gay enough because the main character seems to have a similarly sensual interest in basically everyone in this guy's family. Like, yeah, he cries when he dies, but, like, he tries to do all sorts of shit with the other family members as well. So it's like, how gay can it really be? It just seems like you're a manipulator, It doesn't seem like you like this guy in particular at all. And I guess a specific thing that I noticed was that there are two scenes with full frontal nudity in the film. One of them is when the main character fucks the dirt of the guy's grave. Good stuff. And one of them is when he runs through the house naked at the very end. But there's not full frontal in the scenes where he has sex with people who are alive. Or not the ground, really. Like, it's not when he fucks the sister, there's no full frontal. When he fucks the cousin, you don't even see what's going on when he fucks the cousin. Or the sister, really. So it's like, it's almost de-sexed. Like, you have these sex scenes which are cut off and, as little is shown as possible. And then you do go to show those things that you avoided showing in those scenes, but it's, like, not human. Like, it's not human on human interaction where we're getting that kind of closeness. And so it feels almost fucking anti-sex. Which kind of gets to, I was just talking to my friend Amelia, and she was saying that, like, this reminds her of, like, another movie like Neon Dragon or something, where it almost feels like it was written by, or it feels like it falls into homophobic tropes about gay sex instead of, being a gay romp, right? Or camp or whatever, where it's like, oh, here's this evil guy who infiltrates this family and he uses sex with these men, with this one man that he has sex with, as like a way to do something that like fucks him over. Like he's defiling them. He's ruining everything. Like he's used his homosexuality and, you know, this sex to fuck people over. Like it's I don't know if we're quite in the moment where you can write a story about a queer man seducing and murdering an entire family without it having implications, you know? Without it having those homophobic implications. Like, there's a fucking lot. A fucking lot going on right now, okay? Like, we're not there yet. Yeah, and then I guess that kind of goes into my statement that this movie felt thematically a little bankrupt, where, you know, I was talking earlier about how, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, how I had a bad time watching this movie. And there are a lot of movies that I've had a bad time watching slightly that I've still watched because I care about like the theme or the cultural contribution or any number of things. But watching this movie, it was like, what am I even sitting through this disgust for? You know? Like, there was nothing bad about the people who were murdered. Except from, like, the mom being callous or them being, like, slightly annoying about their wealth. Like, the people that the main character kills are, especially the sister and Jacob, the guy. Jacob Elordi's character, but I'm just calling him Jacob because I don't remember his name. They didn't do anything wrong. You're not rooting for them to die, right? But you're also not able to root for the main character because you have no idea why he's killing them. Like, until the end of the movie, you don't actually know that he did it all to get the house. So it's like the entire time you're watching him commit these murders and you're not even able to get like an emotional resonance or catharsis with him because there's always this threat that he's going to turn around in the next scene and reveal that that motivation was completely fake. Like, it feels aimless, these murders. It's just going fucking nowhere except to this inevitable disgust. Like, this whole movie was just mounting disgust the whole time. And then, alright, this is my final point. Then I'm going to end this video. How many more movies and narratives and stories and books, songs, whatever, do we need about middle class or upper middle class people resenting the rich? And how they're both shallow for that. How many more do we need? Genuine question. This is not contributing to the communist revolution. It's just not. Okay? Like, the point in this movie where the main character reveals that he lied about being poor and actually he's wealthy, it's like, it turned my stomach. Because, you know, one of the ways that I like to analyze themes is by looking like, if everyone in the world believed this, how different would the world be, right? And if everyone, you know, believed that people were lying, or if everyone was looking out for people who say they're poor to be lying, the world would suck, right? It would just suck worse. It would suck fucking balls, nutsacks, testicles. Okay? And I'm not really the type of person who's like, oh, every movie has like a real world impact or whatever. Like, yeah, they do in an abstract sense. But I'm honestly a little bit concerned by the amount of media that we get about how cringe the middle class is for resenting rich people. Like, apparently the director of this movie her parents have blue names on Wikipedia, and that shit doesn't fucking surprise me. I think if we had the type of media landscape where everyone had a good shot to make a fucking movie in Hollywood, we would see a lot more movies about poor people resenting the rich or resenting the middle class, or rich people just sucking in general, or whatever, and I think we would have a lot less movies where the final thesis is the middle class is so cringe and so bad because they hate rich people. They want to be us and they'll never be us. Like that type of shit, old money, new money, it takes up airspace that it does not deserve. And I think this movie is like a prime example of, like I was saying, the rich people, other than being a little annoying from time to time, were generally fine. Like, they were down to earth, and while they were resentful about it on occasion, they did help people. They were nice to people. Like, they did let that lady stay at their house for a long time, even though they eventually kicked her out. Like, this could have been a movie about parasitic rich people doing crazy things with their lower class people they see as pets, but it wasn't. It was a movie about a crazy middle class person going after these wealthy people who couldn't see it coming. And how fucking progressive is that? Like, oh, beware of social climbers. That's been a concern since the fucking Victorian era. Like, this is not revolutionary. This is not cute. It's not fun. It's gross and honestly regressive. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Do I have any more notes that I want to read? Oh, yeah, I think that the final thing I have to say about that, which I forgot about, is that, like, actually, at this current moment, people who grew up middle class have many reasons to hate rich people. Like, we're living through a cost of living crisis, and the middle class itself is shrinking. There are a lot of people my age and slightly older who grew up middle class and have backslid into being working class. Like, this is happening right now, and yet the contemporary pop culture is obsessed with these stories about middle class people being fucking cringe and envious. That's the thing that dominates this movie and a number of other movies I've seen recently. Like, I love Bodies, 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 and I'll defend it to my dying breath. But it still does have those seeds of, like, well, the real villain here is actually the envious middle class. Like, that's the real problem. It's not the terrible rich people. It's the middle class who sees them being rich and snobby and thinks, I wish that was me. Those are the real bad guys. Because at the end of the day, what is that saying? It's saying the problem is not this system. The problem is not capitalism. It's not wealth inequality. The problem is the human condition. And I fundamentally disagree with that. So that's that. I love you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.